In this video, I'll be taking you through the double piston extender for turning your villagers in your villager trading hall. The reason why this is really useful is that using a double piston extender, you can hide all of the redstone and all of the zombie turning underneath the hall so you don't see it at all. You simply press a note block and it brings your villagers from that position all the way down to where they get turned by zombies, and then you press the same note block again to bring them up. Let's get into building it. These are the blocks you need to build one unit of the main part of the villager turning system. You start with a little triangle, upside down triangle of solid blocks. They can be stone blocks, anything. I'm using iron blocks here so you can see them clearly. Then we place a note block above this one and a note block up here in that checkered pattern. We place an observer here. You'll need to crouch and look up to place it. And then one here. I crouch, jump in place in survival. You need to crouch to place them against here, otherwise you play the note instead of actually placing the block. Next step is you place a sticky piston facing down with a redstone block on it. All the way over here, a sticky piston with a normal piston on top. And then 2 pieces of redstone dust. And that's your completed system. When you hit this note block, it will double extend these pistons. When you hit it a second time, it will drop them down 2. Now the reason why lifting this up and down 2 blocks is useful, instead of just 1, is that you can fully encase your villager in a little cubicle, and you can't see any of the goings on underneath here. What you do is you place the workstation down here. They can access it even though it's 1 block below them. The trapdoor on top. Make sure the trapdoor opens in this direction. That'll keep the villager inside. Place your villager in there. I can show you how to place villagers in here in survival a little bit later. And this will keep your villager in. Villagers are 2 blocks tall, and this gap from the top of this trapdoor to here is a bit smaller than that. So you have full access to your villagers. When you working in your trade center, you can see what level they're at, you can see what type of villagers there are, and these trapdoors hide the workstations so that the XP can easily flow out when you're trading, and so that you can easily walk along here without having to trip over workstations. Now, when we press this button, this villager will go down 2 blocks, and we'll get to this level with this block here. Their feet will be right here. Now what we need to do is place a block here and a block here on either side, trapdoor here in the upright position, and this stops them being able to escape when you lower them down. There's now nowhere for them to get out. They can't jump up here because the trapdoor's here, the workstation's in the way. They can't get out at the sides, nor the back. The reason why I'm using a trapdoor here is that this spot here is the little runway for the zombie to walk along and turn all of your villagers. Now to extend that out, we have that same system over here, where we're going to make sure that there are blocks between each of these so that they can't escape on the sides. Got our runway for our zombie to run along here. I normally include some sort of block of glowstone once every now and again in this runway just to keep it well lit. You won't see it from up here, but it will stop creepers and other mobs spawning in your villager trading hall that you don't want. I also recommend having one zombie between 4 people. That just means that when you're working in your trading hall and you want to turn 32 clerics or 32 masons, you've got one zombie to handle 4 of them, and they all get turned really quickly. You don't have to wait a long time. On this runway here, to put our zombie in, we just need to enclose it. The zombie can't get out. I would recommend closing it all the way up to here. That when the villager comes down, the zombie can access that villager there, access that villager there, and then we place trapdoors all along here in the upright position. The zombie can walk along. Now they do get burnt with the sun, so I would recommend at least a slab between here. Let's get our zombie in. And they just sit there waiting. Now because in this design there is no blocks in the way of their eye line, the zombies will target the villagers immediately as soon as you put them down. So if I put this villager down here, the zombie will immediately target him, turn him. And lift him back up again. This one hasn't linked properly to here, so I might get rid of you, buddy. Let's try that again. Villager. Now, pop all 4 of you down. Let's see what happens at the back here. Now you can speed up this process by making sure that the zombie that you put down here can pick things up. And then you can give them something like a sharpness 5 sword or axe. There we go. What you would do now is just lift them all back up. Get our splash potion of weakness. Add a golden apple. And we can splash all in between 4 of these at a time. When you throw a splash potion, it extends out 3 blocks in all directions. So right here, we'll get all of the 4 of them. What I will often do for designing the floor of here is cover this area in carpet so that you can walk across it. You can't tell that there's redstone under there. It also looks nice. Here I like to use stripped dark oak, and that way I still come along and press the little buttons that lower them and heighten them. And I cover this whole entire area with trapdoors so that I'm not bouncing up and down as I move along. And you can come right up here and trade with them. Just go along and trade. Makes it really easy for trading. You can see what level they're at. You can see what sort of villager they are. You can slide along easily, and you can't see any of the zombification stuff underneath. It just becomes neat and tidy. There are data packs you can put on servers with silence me name tags, which means you can name it name tag silence me and use it on this guy, and he will be quiet. So you won't even know there's a zombie underneath. It just looks like a cute little cubicle area, but really it's quite a powerful setup for being able to turn all of your villagers quite quickly and easily. You just come along and go tap, 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 and once they're all turned, tap, 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 and bring them up and splash them, cure them. The way to load our villagers into each of these cubicles that I use is, instead of placing our workstations down here initially, when we build it, we would place dirt, sand, or some other block that you would use a different tool to break than the blocks next door. That way, when you're breaking these blocks later on, you don't accidentally break the other blocks in the build, especially later on when we have efficiency 5 tools and you tend to carve through pretty much anything that you use your tools on. You place that block there so that you can have rails running from your villager breeder all the way up that block. Put a torch on there to power it. We can then come along and send our villagers from the villager breeder into this area. I use powered rails all the way into here, or at least one on the end here, to get him to accelerate right smack into that trapdoor, really close. You then place 2 temporary blocks on either side, one here, to box him in. The only option he has, let's try this actually. You also need to make sure those pistons are up. Good demonstration of what to make sure not to do. Make sure those pistons are in that upright position, so when you break his minecart, they always want to jump out to one of these 8 blocks surrounding the area that they were in. So that'll mean he automatically jumps straight into that block. So break his minecart, just slip straight in. Break these bits of dirt, and he's inside his little cubicle. We can then give him his workstation, and he'll connect, and we go to the next person. Get our villager, 2 pieces of dirt, 2 pieces of dirt, 1 here, break his minecart. He will instantly go into his little cubicle. Then you put his workstation down. Put the villager along, 2 bits of dirt, there and there, break his minecart, pop his workstation down. And that's how simple it is to get each of them in one at a time. Works really well if you're on a server with someone to be downstairs pressing the button, and someone to be up here breaking the carts and putting them in. What I then do is, once they're all in, is I go along and put all these trapdoors down so that it looks really nice, and I will cover the entirety of this area in carpet. That way you've got a nice big carpeted area here. Can't see any of the observers. You've got access to all your villagers. You can see how leveled up they are. You can see what sort of villagers they are, and when it comes to trading, you can run along here and trade with all of them very easily and quickly. Now you will notice they get little green particles and connect and reconnect to their workstations. If they do disconnect entirely, you can make a little cubicle here and jump inside and break their workstation and place it back down. They'll reconnect immediately. Bit of a hack. If you're having lots and lots and lots of trouble with that, you can instead pop their workstations here. So let's remove his workstation. We shall pop it back in here. And now he will have his workstation behind him. When you approach, they turn around and face you. And having the workstations back there means that they won't connect and disconnect all the time. He will just stay connected to his workstation because it's at his foot level. And that workstation also stops the zombie being able to jump up and down around in here. There we have it. The double piston extender villager turning system.